Canadian bacon returns. It's Boyle time. Let's go for a Sunday night Watch D.A. live. How we doing, everybody? So glad you're with us. It is a big night around these parts. I've had multiple D-aliens reach out to me and tell me, I miss Canadian bacon. And I said, fear not, my friends. Aiden and I have had a plan brewing for a while. The brand new overnight host of Infinity Sports Network, Pat Boyle, is going to make his triumphant return at 7:30 Eastern Time for Canadian Bacon, the pucks and puns of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. And we are continuing to count down the days until Bob's Bar. 44 days, everybody. 44 days until Bob's Bar. We are doing it on Sunday, June the 8th, noon Eastern Time. Sunday, June the 8th, West Hampton, New York. Get your travel plan set. We have it rocked. We have it locked. It's ready to go. More details on that a little bit later on in the show. Let's get started, shall we, with your Furious Five. Talking about, obviously, is the Shedeur Sanders drop in the draft. And I put out a video about this yesterday. In the morning after he had slid through the first 3 rounds, he went through another round and then was ultimately drafted in the 5th. I know there's been a lot of theories about what happened. It was the massive, major storyline of the entire draft. I actually think this is a lot more practical and logical than it is emotional or conspiracy theory. I think what ends up happening is we start with mock drafts that were always unrealistic because ultimately all of us, this includes myself, but certainly the public at large, gets our first sense of where guys are going to go based on mock drafts back during the football season. And during the football season, Shedeur Sanders was either the first or second pick overall in the draft. And that carried through much of the season and really into the offseason as well. Had Shedeur Sanders been projected to be a second-round pick, yeah, there might be some people that said, I can't believe he's all the way projected to be down there, but it wouldn't have set up an unrealistic expectation. I think he was never a first-round caliber quarterback, and even if he was, the projections during the season by mock draft analysts was really based on entertainment value. Those mock drafts don't have to mean anything because that's not the final draft. Those guys sometimes do 15 to 20 mock drafts. So largely what they're doing when it comes to mock drafts in October is try to get people to click. What gets somebody to click more than Shedeur, one of the biggest, if not the biggest celebrity in the game, going high, being the first or second pick overall. But when we got through the season, I think the tape just didn't validate him being a first-round draft pick. I think a lot of NFL evaluators saw a guy that didn't have dynamic athleticism, like a Lamar Jackson or a Josh Allen, didn't have a huge arm, took a lot of sacks, needed a clean pocket. And I think they saw that tape and said, Also on top of that, apparently didn't interview well with multiple teams. On top of that, decided not to throw at the combine, didn't throw in many situations. And I think that may have caused also a certain stock drop. But ultimately, when it came to the first round, there just was 2 first-round grades on any of those quarterbacks. And that was Cam, who everybody kind of assumed was going to be the number one pick anyway. And then Jackson Dart, because let's face it, one team, the New York Giants, thought that he was worthy of that. Well, once we got to the second round and beyond, I think there became a deteriorating value there, because once you get to the second or third rounds, you're drafting a guy to be a project quarterback, a backup quarterback, and you want that guy to be as quiet as possible. And Shedeur comes with a lot of noise, and he comes with a dad with a huge platform. And I think there was probably a worry amongst a lot of pro football people that you draft Shedeur in the second round, and he's not the starting quarterback, and the starter has a couple of bad games, and maybe Deion tweets it out. Maybe Deion goes on College Game Day. Maybe Deion does a podcast and says it's time for Shedeur to start. And now suddenly you have a kettle of fish in front of you that you got to figure out. I think there was a fear of that. And I think when it comes to project quarterbacks, you want those guys to just basically blend in and be part of the silent roster that just doesn't make any headlines. And I think that kind of caught him in the crosshairs. Ultimately, he's drafted in the 5th round. And the thing is, there's nobody stopping him from having an NFL career. There's plenty of middle round draft picks that organizations didn't invest a lot of resource into, a high draft pick into, and they ended up having really good careers. Dak Prescott was a 3rd rounder. Russ was a 3rd rounder. Dak was a 4th rounder. Mark Brunell was a 5th rounder. Theismann was a 4th rounder. Rich Gannon was a middle rounder as well. It happens. And those guys either were MVPs of the league, played in big playoff games, Super Bowls, etc. So there's nothing stopping a guy being drafted there from ultimately becoming a great quarterback. And Shedeur now just has to work his tail off. But I didn't subscribe to all of the conspiracy theories that, this was the NFL putting its foot down. This was the NFL that, had some type of, mandate. I just think that you can excuse a lot on a guy that you feel is a 1st-round quarterback. Caleb Williams, he had a lot of the same dings on his resume. Arrogance, didn't throw at the combine, all that type of stuff. His dad was demanding partial ownership in a team if he was drafted. Remember, that was an early report. He goes number 1 overall, right? I mean, Baker Mayfield, arrogant, at times difficult to get through. What, number 1 overall? If they believe that you are a franchise-changing quarterback, they'll take you no matter what. But if you're not, then there becomes law of diminishing returns. And if you slide out of the 1st round because you're not as good as a Caleb Williams or a Baker Mayfield, suddenly they go, well, and now we're going to deal with attitude problems with a backup? We're going to deal with dad with a backup? Not worth our time. Not worth the headache is my point. So that to me was the biggest storyline. It was far more logical than it was emotional. And I think ultimately that kind of got lost in the noise of the weekend. That takes us to topic number 2. And topic number 2 is one of those guys that made it all noisy, and that was Mel Kiper. I tell you, I know that Kiper is there for big opinions, and who doesn't like big opinions? If you listen to my SiriusXM show on Channel 82 Mad Dog Sports Radio weekday mornings, when we do our Wednesday draft, which is a draft of just about anything, both real or otherwise, that we do every single week, there's a clip in it of Bill Polian saying, who's Mel Kiper Jr. anyway? Because Kiper had questioned the Colts, or maybe that wasn't Polian, but whoever that was, questioned the Colts drafting, I believe, Steve McMichael number 1 overall, and it was the Colts front office that blasted him and has the famous quote, who's Mel Kiper Jr. anyway? Well, those things have been happening for Mel for a long time. It's why he's interesting. It's why he's still working the draft. But I thought the fact that he was basically throwing a temper tantrum for 3 days over Shedeur not getting drafted became ridiculous. And I think it kind of hijacked the narrative of why Shedeur might slip. When you have a draft guy that's been there for 40, 50 years, and all he's doing is screaming about how stupid the league is, it makes an audience believe how stupid the league is. Hey, look, there's been plenty of misses in NFL history. Plenty of them. But Kiper said plenty of them as well. Famously, Jimmy Clausen is a slam dunk franchise QB. And every time that Kiper screamed again about how stupid the league was, he failed to mention Peyton Manning was drafted number 1 overall. And John Elway was drafted number 1 overall. And there's a host of excellent quarterbacks or elite players that went on a Hall of Fame careers that were drafted number 1 overall. So while we can point out all the misses, and certainly there's plenty, there are hits as well that balance out that they don't always make mistakes, just like you, Mel. And Mel stomping his feet and slamming his fist detracted from guys actually getting drafted. It detracted from actually focusing on who is being selected and what's the plan here by the team that's selecting them. And I thought one of two things happened. Either Mel, because it was so overboard this year, is getting older, sees this encroachment of draft analysts, an industry that he built from the ground up. He was the first guy that made the draft his industry. And now an industry grew around him. And the Mayoks and the Bruglers and the Daniel Jeremiahs now all have jobs because being an NFL draftnik is a job. We've had a couple here on the show, Chris Trapasso, CBS Sports. We had him 2 weeks ago. Last week we had Connor Rogers from NBC Sports. These guys have jobs because of Mel Kiper. Either he came into this year going, I am going to go crazy and be theatrical because I'm feeling the heat of needing to still stand out and my ground is being encroached upon and I need to still kind of keep my territory. I'm getting older. These new young guys are coming in. It was either that, and he made a decision before the draft, I'm going to just go bonkers in this draft. Or B, he's incapable of reasonable discussion. Now, I'm not saying everything has to be reasonable. I know there's always theatrics. But this was so unreasonable for 3 days. It was like, wow, this might be Joe Namath on the Rams. This might be Johnny Unitas on the Chargers. This might just be a really ugly end. We'll see. We'll see if ESPN wants to bring him back next year. But it was so bad this year. It was worthy of discussion of, was this a Jimmy the Greek situation where a longtime analyst is imploding himself on the air? Now, Jimmy the Greek had a racist moment, and that's what killed him. I'm not saying that Mel is that, but I'm just talking about a legendary football announcer having a moment where you're like, wow, he's now just imploding, and he can't be brought back. I thought it was wild that he was that ridiculous for all 3 days on a guy that, say what you want about this team might have missed, this team, and maybe Shedeur goes on to a great career. But you cannot sit there and only bring up the quarterbacks that the NFL missed on and not bring up either A, the quarterbacks you missed on, or B, the quarterbacks the NFL hit on. Got to bring those up as well. You got to bring those up as well. It was patently absurd the weekend in Mel Kiper Jr. land. Some draft winners from the weekend. I said this before the draft began. I said this on Thursday morning. I thought the slam dunk superstar of this draft that I just don't see not being a star is Travis Hunter. The fact that the Jaguars were aggressive to go up and get him, I think is totally smart. You've got 2 buckets you can be a star in, either offense or defense. Maybe you're a star in both. All you do is want to play video games, go fishing, and play football. You're an academic All-American. You're exceedingly bright. You're a pro's pro. Everybody in the draft thought that, you were going to be a stud. I just think that was a home run. So I like the Jaguars doing what they had to do, even though they gave up a 1 and a 2. I think he's going to be an absolute star. I also thought the Giants had a very good draft. Now, this is assuming Jackson Dart is a franchise QB, then it's a franchise-changing draft if Jackson Dart ends up being the guy. But Abdul Carter seems like a no-brainer franchise cornerstone. I thought Cam Skattebo in the middle rounds was an excellent value pick, a hard-nosed runner. I did a video on him here on YouTube about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, wondering if he was going to be, the steal of the draft. I think he absolutely could be. They got a big body for their defensive line as well in the second round, and then you get your potential franchise QB. So I thought that they did really, really well. I thought in terms of a winner, I really like that. I talked about this on Friday morning. I exceedingly like the fact that the Chargers in the first round went with Amari and Hampton. I thought at number 22 overall, that was a really smart play. I thought that Hampton had a lot of the qualities that Ashton Genty did, but you pair him with a franchise QB, a good offensive line, a veteran head coach, a run-first offense, and a team that went to the playoffs last year. I think Hampton could be a breakout rookie this year for a very good Chargers team. And you guys know I was riding Harbaugh high last year, but I thought that was a very, very smart pick by the Chargers and an excellent, excellent landing spot for Amari and Hampton. And then there's the Browns, okay? The Browns may be big winners. They may be big losers. We don't know. They may be big winners because they trade out of the number 2 pick and allow the Jaguars to grab Travis Hunter, but they pick up a first-rounder next year and a second-rounder this year. That's excellent value to move down just 3 spots. Excellent value to move down 3 spots. You get a 1 and a 2. So they got their pass rusher they wanted in the first round, or one of the excellent pass rushers of the draft. So you have some help on the defensive line for Myles Garrett. But more than that, you pick up the 1, you pick up the 2, and you have 2 rookie quarterbacks. Now, nobody trusts Joe Flacco for an entire season. And then there's Kenny Pickett, and who knows what that is. But you have kind of a double scratch-off ticket now with Dylan Gabriel and with Shedeur Sanders. If those 2 guys go bust, then it's not nearly as good of a draft as you would have hoped. If one of those 2 guys hits, then you picked up a 1, a 2, got a top 5 pass rusher, and you got your franchise QB. Probably a long shot that one of those 2 guys works out, but it's possible. You have to navigate having 2 rookie quarterbacks in their snaps. You have to navigate, obviously, a storm that is coming with Shedeur Sanders, but perhaps dropping all the way to the 5th round. Perhaps that's enough to quiet Dion and Shedeur and make them understand that the more noise, the worse off it is for Shedeur's prospects. And perhaps this was a learning lesson for the Sanders family. The swing of what the Browns 2025 draft could be is dramatic. It could be franchise altering. It could be a disaster if Travis Hunter ends up being Shohei Ohtani of football and neither one of your quarterbacks pan out. That would be a ugh. Although they didn't spend a lot of draft collateral on the 2 quarterbacks, so I guess no harm, no foul there. So that's the situation on the NFL draft. Before we get to Pat Boyle, I wanted to finish off on this point with football. This week, I should say, Steve McMichael passed away just in his 60s. I think he was 67 years old. And Steve McMichael was a bear of all bears for the 85 Bears. Now, I know that I have this long-standing punchline that all I do is watch 85 Bears documentaries. And there's some truth to that. I do really enjoy my 85 Bears documentaries. But I would also say that in terms of the 85 Bears and the mystique that they had, there is nothing quite like what Steve McMichael was emblematically to that team. He was a guy that loved being physical, was tenacious, played through injury, was as tough an SOB as anybody in the league could be during an era of tough SOBs. McMichael Mongo was a monster, but he also loved life. He loved the celebrity of the 85 Bears. He loved being a big deal in Chicago. After his playing career was over, he turned into a wrestler. He had a larger-than-life persona for the wrestling game as well. He was a guy that loved to chase nightlife. He loved to live large. He loved to be he liked to be a villain, and he liked to be loud and proud. And I thought that really typifies the 85 Bears. There's a story about one year in training camp. A young fan yelled out to Steve McMichael, "Hey, Mongo, the Packers suck." Steve McMichael came over to this young boy, walked over. The young boy's like scared. He didn't say a thing. Mongo comes over, puts his hand on the kid's shoulders and say, Son, that's incorrect. It's the Packers effing suck. And patted him on the head and walked back. I mean, he's that type of guy. I thought he was just completely symbolic of the 85 Bears. He didn't get nearly the accolades that the other guys did. He wasn't Super Bowl MVP like Richard Dent. He didn't get into the Hall of Fame like Dan Hampton or Mike Singletary early in their eligibility. It took him a long time. And now, unfortunately, he passed away due to the complications of ALS. But, man, he was a character through and through. And I just, you know me and the old guys of football, those old warriors, I have nothing but great respect for. And he was a character. He was a warrior. And I know Bears fans will miss him dearly. Steve McMichael, R.I.P. Mongo, rest in peace, big guy. Before we get to Pat Boyle, can we just run a Bob's Bar B-roll meme marathon here, Aiden Hatt and the Marquette Marvel? Because I have had too much fun getting all these videos together, all of the memes together for Bob's Bar. This has been so much fun. I've been tinkering with a little AI, as you might imagine, as you can see some of these, and I'm just using the themes of how many days are left. 48 days? That's like 48 hours with Eddie Murphy. This one, the South Park one, was done by Cap. Cap is tinkering with these as well. He sent this to the group chat. I said, dude, I'm using this. That's Mraz's South Park. You gotta love it. Oh my God, that looks just like Bob's Bar. It's just perfect. I just been having so much fun making these things. And if you follow me on either Twitter or Instagram, 50 days left, that's 50 cents. 50 with an ice cream cone. Getting ready. You can see the sign of Bob's Bar in the back. Look at 50. He is so excited to be with Bob and Nancy. That might be Nancy behind him. Just beautiful. I think we're going to have the ice cream truck come by. I mean, it's just been so much freaking fun to have all of the AI abilities and Photoshop abilities to make these things. And so if you follow me on either Twitter or Instagram, you just see new ones every single day. And we're down to 44 days left, boys and girls. 44 days left. And so make sure you got your travel plan set up. If you want to meet the Marquette Marvel, Aiden's going to be in the building, okay? I've gotten some RSVPs already from some loyal D-aliens. Randy in Ohio, Ashtabula, he's making the trek. Love him to death. You know he's going to be there. You got to see Randy. He's amazing. How about Sean, Ironman Sean from South Carolina? You might remember he made it up a couple of years ago to Bob's Bar 3. He brought the Orange Crushes, I believe. He came up. He's going to be up here. It's going to be awesome to see Sean, okay? He's going to make the drive from South Carolina. Unbelievable. I believe Backwards Brian is confirmed as well. So I got the RSVPs coming in fast and furious. I know that Moist Pork is going to make the trek. This is going to be awesome to see Moist. I know Kristen in Buffalo's been making her accommodations, making her schedule, try to work for this thing. She's working on this. I know a bunch of D-aliens have been putting this thing in the works. So it's going to be awesome. So many good people there. I will also tell you, have a confirmation from Zach Gelb. Gelb has been confirmed, okay? Also, Carlos with a K, confirmed. And, drum roll, got this today. Shep, confirmed. That's right, a cast of thousands. Oh, yeah, all coming. You got to love it. So make sure you are there Sunday, June 8th, noon Eastern, in West Babylon, New York. West Hampton's too foo-foo for us. West Babylon, New York, on Long Island. Can fly into any one of the 3 airports and then get just transportation over there. Newark's going to be maybe the toughest just because that's on the other side of the Hudson River. That's in Jersey. LaGuardia and JFK, if you're flying in, both are totally doable. You fly in and then you can get to Long Island Railroad, which is a train that stops all along Long Island. And there's a West Babylon stop, actually 2 West Babylon stops. Obviously, you can rent a car, go out there, drive in yourself, connect with other D-aliens if they're driving. Use this chat right here over the next couple of weeks to coordinate with somebody in the chat that might be coming from your area, pick you up, share a hotel room, etc. It's going to be phenomenal. I am so excited, and I'm so fired up that so many people are interested in coming. And I can tell you that yesterday I started looking at the live entertainment. Oh, yeah. Live entertainment, baby. Let's do it up. Let's do it big. So you guys know that on the D.A. show on CBS Sports Radio, a massive part of the family was Pat Boyle. We love Pat. Pat was as hard a worker as they came, supremely passionate about doing it the right way, took any shift, took any job, and made it his own. And nobody in that building ever had a bad word to say about him. And everybody was rooting for him every step along the way to kind of keep elevating, keep getting promoted, and ultimately try to get that show. He finally nailed it. I was the overnight host for 2 years on CBS Sports Radio, 13 and 14. Amy took over, did a decade of the overnight. She was excellent. She created a real legacy in that spot. And then Amy left right after the Super Bowl, and they had to fill that slot. They had a lot of really talented people try out for it. But ultimately, our guy, Pat Boyle, got the job. So how exciting, how awesome that Pat is now the new overnight host on what used to be CBS Sports Radio, now rebranded the Infinity Sports Network. And Pat, he earned the mythical 5 oinks for Canadian bacon. So he had to have him back on to try it again now that he's a full-time sports radio host. Pat, how we doing, brother? Congratulations.
A dog.
Dogs. What's up, dude?
What's up, DA? It is an honor and it is a pleasure to be back here on Watch D.A. Live with some of the best and loyal listeners and viewers on the entire planet. I love the long hair. I love the look. I love that you got the NFL caliber, high quality video camera going here. I feel like I've made it. Forget the overnight on Infinity Sports Network. This is where you want to be.
We just keep leveling up. The Bourbon Belle said, you ever think about growing out your hair? I said, I really haven't ever grown it out long. She goes, you got really good hair. I go, you want me to? She goes, try it. So little by little tried it. It was a lot of awkward stages. This chat ground me up. I mean, really killed me. Like November, December, January. It was an ugly in between. And the D-aliens let me know. But it finally now came in, I would say the last 4 to 5 weeks. It's starting to really find its groove, its shape. You know how important it is to have the right hair for the right personality for the right moment. And I appreciate you saying that. It's been a long, hard road, but we're finally getting to where we want to be.
We love that. And you got to keep going. That's.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes there's going to be forks in the road. There's going to be hairs. There's going to be hairs out of place. But I'm glad you stuck through it. You're a grinder. And it looks phenomenal right now. I mean, you look like you're getting ready to go on the set of Grease and kiss Cherry Valance right on the mouth. That's The Outsiders. I don't forget the girl's name from Grease, but you get my point.
We had this comment come in from Psych Mamter. Pat Boyle is passionate about doing it. 100% correct. Doing it. Yeah, doing it. So you still have that rep.
Some things never leave you.
So before we get to Canadian bacon, tell us about the new gig, about the overnight gig. I know that I had a lot of D-aliens that DM me, messaged me, mentioned me, and they were so happy that you got that job.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Once it became, once word got out, once it became official that Amy was going to be leaving, the applications, the process became open. And I obviously applied for it and, went through the process. Basically, what I think were unofficial auditions for the show, because there was some time before, that I got the show. There was some time in between Amy leaving and the show becoming official. So, yeah, there was what I thought were auditions. There was the interview process. I put my best foot forward. You know me, I'm a dog, so trusted in my abilities and my talent and everything that I've learned along the way from you, from Sean, from the D-aliens, to put forth in my craft about what I wanted my own show to sound like. And it's crazy still saying those words, but lo and behold, about, was it 2.5 weeks ago now, I found out that the Pat Boyle show was going to be coming to the Infinity Sports Network and to overnights around the country on Odyssey. And it's still surreal, man. It's still surreal that it's, when you first got your own show, how that must have felt. And like you said, starting out in the overnights, it's a journey, but the words aren't doing it justice. I show up and I just try to put my best effort into the show every single day, man. And it's 4 hours of zaniness and madness and passion. And I'm just hoping that I can, continue to do that for a long, long time.
It's amazing. I remember the first job that I had my name on the show was my first full-time job in Fort Myers, but I was there for a full year before they gave me a show. And when I heard my name from Voice Guy, when Voice Guy said my name, I was like, whoa, that is wild. Because I was just a fill-in guy to that point in time. So Voice Guy always said somebody else's name, and I was filling in. That is an incredible moment, isn't it?
Yeah, when and if it took Pete the Body a little bit to get the Pat Boyle show liners to get going, but
well, some things never change.
No, I'm just joking. Pete's been fantastic. Me and Pete the Body working together, that's an incredible journey and pair on its own. But yeah, when I first heard, like the third or fourth actual official show, you're listening to the Pat Boyle show. It's crazy. It is crazy, man. So it's, I'm still figuring it out here, doing 5 shows a week every single day and getting the sleep schedule in order, which is basically right now 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. for me. I don't know how you did it when you did the overnights, but the show for me is the last thing of the day. I pour in the last bit of energy and caffeine that I've got into doing that show, and then it's just an absolute conk out of epic proportions when I get back.
Yeah, same thing with me. I would go to sleep right after the show. Maybe 7 a.m., 8 a.m., I would finally fall asleep, and then I would sleep until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I would, though, get usually a nap in like around 11 p.m., which was dangerous. Maybe 10, but I would watch the early set of games, and then I would sleep for maybe an hour so that I was like recharged a little bit going into work. And then I would go in at like 12:30, something like that, and then get ready for the show. But I can tell you that all the guys from the show are on a group chat. Myself, The Body, Mraz, Bogues, and Kat. And when everything was going down, we were all rooting for you. And when you got the job, we were all cheering, man. And I'm sure you heard from the guys in that building over there, but everybody was super proud of you. So great job. And I know that a lot of the listeners are right now in the chat saying the same thing, man.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, DA. And I appreciate it, man. It means a lot. And, it's, like I said, I'm still trying to take things in stride, and life doesn't slow down. Even for me who doesn't have kids, but now has a girlfriend. I feel like my best days are behind me, but look, we all got to grow up at some point.
Oh, wow. Best days are behind you because now you've settled down?
Yes.
I guess I can interpret that as it's no fun anymore.
No, it is. I'm joking. But yeah, I mean, it feels like it's been a blur. So I don't know. I'm trying to enjoy every second of it, but also watching the NBA playoffs, watching the Stanley Cup playoffs, and following the NFL every day. It's a beast. So it feels like the days just go, they fly by, the weeks fly by, which I guess, again, I'm 2 weeks in. I feel like that's a good thing, right? If
Totally.
it was slow and excruciating, that probably wouldn't be a good sign.
Yeah.
But it's been great so far.
Okay, before we get to Canadian Bacon, your thoughts on the Knicks taking a dominating 3-1 series lead in that series against the Pistons?
Yeah, look, I've been a bit apprehensive about the Knicks this year. I'm going to be honest here, DA, and I don't feel like a dog with the Knicks this year. I feel kind of like a scared little puppy, scared little kitty cat, because I do think the Knicks get brushed aside by the Boston Celtics in the second round. But then I said, you know what? Hold on here, because you got a superstar in Cade Cunningham. You got a young Pistons team that feels like the Knicks from 2 years ago. It feels like they're the Knicks. They're the younger Knicks staring back this different. No Julius Randle, no Dante DiVincenzo, no Knicks, no Derrick Rose. Thank God, no Elfrid Payton, but like Knicks of years past. And it's their younger version of them trying to knock them off their block here before we even get to the second round. And I have to worry about Jason Tatum hitting 19 threes in Mikal Bridges' face. So it was always like a lose-lose situation for me with the Knicks this series. That being said, whatever this season ends up happening for the New York Knicks, if they lose in the second round in 5, this series means a lot. And this series means a lot for what the future of the Knicks organization is going to look like. So 2-1, and they really haven't been the better team in any of these games, if I'm being honest. Game 2 or game 1, Game 3 maybe, but even then the Knicks played great and they still only ended up winning by 2 points. They needed 21-0 run in game 1 just to win it. I was nervous. And when Detroit's got the lead in the fourth quarter and Jalen Brunson limped to the locker room just a quarter before, now he's back. That was the first time I puffed my chest up a little bit and I said, dog. Jalen Brunson back out on the floor. Dog. And Karl Anthony Towns, who I've been calling Kitty Cat Towns for not showing up, finally in game 3 showed he's got some hair on his chest. And then in the final moments, you had Karl Anthony Towns hitting some big shots. And I got a little louder, and I'm sitting on my couch, and I'm going, dog, that's a dog. And then to watch Josh Hart close out cleanly and not a foul on that final play with Pistons fans crying, and they got their cups and their mugs out looking for a foul. And I said, that's a dog, and that's a dog win for the Knicks to go up 3-1. So you know what? Let's close them out at the Garden at game 5. And then let's see what we can do against the Boston Celtics. But I'm getting there, D.A. The belief is starting to come back that maybe after a year of frustration and not being able to beat the best teams and getting crushed by the Celtics and the Cavaliers, and Mikal Bridges put him on a milk carton for half the year because he can't do anything. Maybe I'm just starting to get a little twinkle in the eye, D.A., that maybe there is something special to happen to this season after all.
Very nice. Very nice. Well done. Well, we had to have you back, not only to coronate you the new king of overnight radio, but also for Canadian Bacon. Aiden Hatton, take us away.
A dog. Well, D.A., this is no prank call. This is no smoke screen. D.A. was on the clock with the number 1 overall Canadian Bacon draft pick and decided to call up Pat Boyle, the dog of dogs, the king of Canadian Bacon. And he said to me, is your rain still ever so salty? So, Pat Boyle has decided to come back to watch D.A. live and deliver a 5-oinker on your candy asses that you've been dreaming of. A Canadian Bacon that you didn't even know you needed, but one that you subconsciously dreamed of in your sleep. And like Freddy Krueger, I am your nightmare. I am your dream. So let's descend upon the Stanley Cup Playoffs like Jack Olbricht descended upon his dad's iPad. Let's start in Sunrise, Florida yesterday. Where at Sunrise, it's normally a chirp fest among the chicks and birds, but in this series, it's become a chirp fest among the coaches. In Game 2, Tampa Bay's Brandon Hagel crushed Florida's Alexander Barkov with a hit that earned a 5-minute major. Panthers coach Paul Maurice said after the game, the only players we hit are the ones that have pucks. In this game, Matthew Tkachuk returned the favor on Tampa Bay's Jake Getzel, putting him in a pretzel, prompting Lightning coach John Cooper to say afterwards, the only players we hit are the ones with pucks. Touché, gentlemen, like a middle school cat fight. Let's get heady. First period, Matthew Tkachuk put the puck behind Vasilevsky, who must have thought he was Vaselinevsky because it slid right past him. But that was the only purring the Panthers would do. Braden Point was on point later in the period, getting a point by a virtue of a goal to bring the Lightning even. The lone goal in the second period came from Nick Paul, a dude with 2 first names, and the misfortune of sharing the last name as those losers Jake and Logan. And that had the Lightning thinking they could strike twice in one spot. And then there was a trio of goals in the third as Tampa Bay finally crackled the sky after losing both of the first 2 games at home. The Lightning found a message in a bottle and policed their way to a 5-1 win, and they'll look to get another road win on Monday to tie the series. We move over to the Excel Energy Center, where Microsoft Word said to Microsoft Teams, let's get a spreadsheet going here in St. Paul, and Peter was robbed for a Game 4. It's lyrical gold right there, folks. Think about that last sentence while I hit you with some highlights. Golden Knights in the Wild, Minnesota up 2-1. There was never or nary a lead larger than 1 goal in this hotly contested affair. You could cut the tension with a knife or a razor, a barber's razor. We pick it up in overtime, where it's 3 apiece, and the Wild made a wild mistake to turn it over in their own defensive zone. The Knights had a golden opportunity, and they didn't let their armor down. The puck pinballed in front of the cage, where Ivan the Great Barbashev took his razor and plunged the puck into stone with an emphatic Excalibur.
He's played over 24 minutes in Game 3 with a steal. Smith looking to move it in down low. Center to Middleton. Blocks it. It's loose in the crease. Score! Ivan Barbashev puts it home. The Golden Knights win to tie the series.
Ivan Barbashev took the Wild to the woodshed as Vegas fans cracked open a cold bev with hops coming to the top in the form of sweet victory. The Wild now pack their bags and hope to get lucky in Game 5 back in Vegas with the series tied at 2 apiece. We head to the Great North for the Battle of Ottawa as the Senators tried to legislate against a sweep, but the Maple Leafs said, "Oh, sorry, we're gerrymandering here. Sorry, eh?" On the brink of elimination, Ottawa watched as the Maple Leafs flipped the house from 2 goals down and then flipped the Senate in the last 6 minutes of the game, erasing another deficit to tie the game at 3 goals all. That meant free playoff hockey and a search for an overtime ending man. With less than 3 minutes to go in the extra period, legs growing weary, Canadians growing thirsty for more Molsons or Labatt or even La Fin du Monde, somebody came up with the Fin de Game. As the puck bounced off the boards, Ottawa's Jake Sanderson turned into Jake the Snake and slithered over to throw the puck on net, and it caught Toronto's Anthony Stolarz off guard. They declined his card, and Sanderson laughed to the bank as Senator fans screamed, "Sing us a song! You're the overtime ending man!"
It goes off the shoulder of Stolarz, which means it was about 7 feet high. Oh, Sanderson with a shot, scores! Sanderson with the goal from the point. Ottawa lives another day.
Jake Sanderson's wrister off a feed from Tyler Clevin.
The Senators adjourned for recess. They vetoed the sweep, but now pack their bags for a short trip to Toronto, where the Leafs will hope to pour maple syrup on top of a 4th win and a series clincher on Tuesday. Finally, we head to Ball Arena, where the 2022 holders of Lord Stanley's Cup, well, their cup had runneth dry after losing the last 2 games, and the Stars were looking to shine bright like a diamond. But the Avalanche found love in a hopeless place, jumping out to a 2-0 lead after the first period. We picked things up in the second, where Gabriel Landeskog was just hoping to play some good hockey. After all, the last game, Game 3, was his first NHL action in 3 years after devastating setbacks from knee injuries. But sometimes you have to look through the fog to see the light. And Landeskog navigated through the smog of Stars defenders before taking the bull by the horns and the lamp by the log. And he said, "Let there be light."
Brock Nelson trying to make it not matter. Nelson, the need for speed. Landeskog! Yeah! Oh, Captain! My Captain! Welcome back, Cap! Gabe Landeskog!
It was a captain clapper as Landeskog tied the series at 2 games apiece. And that, D.A., is your Canadian bacon.
Oh my God, there's only one score we can give him. Aiden, give him the 5 oinker. Do what's right. Give him the 5 oinks, for crying out loud. If we could give you more oinks, we would. We had people in the comments said, give him 1,000,000 oinks. This is perfect. This is what we all needed. Shoot this into our veins. The comments overwhelming. Boyle, where do I begin? I am your nightmare. I am your dream, like Freddy Krueger. Let's get petty. Amazing. You say you dropped a Jack Olbricht descending on an iPad? Unbelievable reference, which is, by the way, the kid that pranked Shedeur Sanders, and the Falcons had to apologize. Message in a bottle policed their way to a lead. The Canadian accent, sorry, so sorry. The fin du monde to the fin de game. And my favorite line, perhaps, in Canadian bacon history, the Senators vetoed a sweep. That's amazing. Boyle, you hit on all fronts. Well done.
Thank you, DA. I got some nostalgia writing up that script, and I had to pour everything I had into it, man. It was a little long, as they normally are when I do them, but hopefully you were able to kind of follow along as best as you could.
Well, I think because we do this so infrequently now, the longer was actually okay. If we were doing this every day during the Stanley Cup playoffs, you probably would have been graded down, maybe a quarter oink. You know, look, Bellotti was a tough grader, but he always loved your Canadian bacon, specifically also to Raz Mraz. So he might have given you a 4.75, but we all needed this because we've been missing Canadian bacon. And you should just, the comments Aiden's thrown up there right now. He was born for this. This is so good. This is his best work ever. And by the way, we had Mraz do Canadian bacon, and he missed the overtime ending, man, his own signature call. So the fact that you got it in gives bonus points as well.
Thank you. Yeah, sometimes that pen just catches fire. And, once I got going, I couldn't stop. But I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it. Seeing all these comments from loyal D-Aliens is phenomenal. It's great stuff, man.
Your show, if those can't listen to it overnight live, it's always available in podcast form as well, right?
Well, we're in the process of creating the page for the podcast.
Okay.
That is, I'll leave that to the folks that are higher up.
Okay. So
but you can always listen on the Odyssey app for sure. Either earlier in the day, and the great thing that Pete is doing, he's titling all the segments. So you can always listen. Obviously don't listen during DA's show, but later in the day, if you're looking for more, if you're looking for some Pat Boyle, yes, you can listen on the Odyssey app, and you can pick which segment you want to listen to. They're all titled depending on what the topic was. So it's very easy.
So in that way, you can listen to it outside of the live hours, 2 until 6 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, and I think the app has the show archived for the whole week.
Yeah.
So if you want to listen back to Monday's show, if it's Thursday, you should be able to.
So I think that's what people mean when they say podcast. You're actually talking about boiling the whole thing down, pardon the pun, and making it a podcast available on all the podcast platforms.
Yes, yes. When you want to, you listen back whenever all the shows archived on Apple Podcasts, whatever, like you said, wherever podcasts are found. Yes, their higher ups are still in the process of creating the actual podcast, however you would describe that.
So, okay. So Odyssey app is just all you need. You can listen to Boyle live or after it happens as well.
Yeah. And then I would say probably in about at most, hopefully a week's time from now, you can find the show in typical podcastable fashion, wherever you get your podcasts.
We've had a lot of people ask if you're going to be at Bob's Bar. That is a work night for you, because when you do the overnights, your Sunday night is your first day of the week. And so I know you'll have to get to the studios that night, so there will not be a lot of beverages in Boyle during the day. I know you got a lot of stuff, plus your family's golf outing is the day before, which is a big deal. And so we know that. So if you could make it, awesome. If not, we totally understand. But obviously your presence is requested by all the D-Aliens.
Yeah, and I'm going to do my absolute best to try to make it. You laid it out pretty nicely. Got a show later that day. Got my family's golf outing the day before, which, DA, the first one without my dad, it's going to be an emotional one, and it's going to be a big one. So I will do my best to get out to East Babylon, West Babylon, wherever the hell Bob's Bar is, or Blobs by the Bay. I will do my best to get out there on that Sunday, the day after.
West Babylon. Don't get lost. We'll have to go to the search party for you if you go to East Babylon. But all right, man. Well, thanks so much. We love you, dude. And we're proud of you. Congratulations. And thanks so much for carving out time for us tonight.
Love you, brother. You're the best, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for all your help and for being a tremendous friend and a mentor and everything else that goes along with it. Aiden and you have done a fantastic job with this show every single Sunday. And it's awesome. And, all the best continued success, man, to you. And obviously everything you do Monday through Friday at Sirius with the DA show with Babchick. And the D-Aliens are the best fans in the world, man. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And it's never wavered one day. The support and the following that you've gotten throughout your career and on your show, whatever platform you've done it on, is nothing shy of remarkable. So I appreciate all the kind things you said, and we'll have to run this back again soon.
Right on, brother. Thanks, man. We'll talk soon, okay? I mean, does it get sharper, more polished, more creative, more energetic than that? Mraz created something really special. Puns, Stanley Cup playoffs, ridiculousness, all that. But Boyle basically perfected it. You know, it was like somebody built the Model T, or somebody built the first car, and then Henry Ford built the Model T after that. It was just like streamlined and perfected and just freaking amazing. They're just freaking amazing. Like, literally, it feels like he was born to do this bit. That bit cannot be done better than that right there. Great job with the music. Great job with the highlights. Those are the radio calls that you saw. And we had the B-roll over it, which is what you call video that still shots that air over audio so that this can air on YouTube without license problems, without copyright infringement. That's why we do that. So it was just perfectly executed, both Aiden and Boyle. And I'm so glad we got to do that. And that's what this show is about on Sunday nights, is bringing all you guys together. And that's why I want to do the Bob's Bar show annually, to bring all you guys together in person. It's a wonderful group of people. In the comment section, you might see my dude B Squared. B Squared has been with me since I was in Kansas City. And I just realized the other day that we've hit 20 years since I've been in Kansas City. I got there in September of 2003, and I stayed until January 2008. And so I was there 4.5 years or so. And B Squared was hardcore DA show listener, D-Alien. Before we even had that nickname, we nicknamed them the 300 level because they were the crazies in the upper deck at Arrowhead Stadium, and they would descend upon the DA show mornings and just make it incredibly creative and personality driven and all that. And so the fact that he's here as well, it makes me feel so whole that we have people from all stops of my radio career all coming together, and I just appreciate it so much. And you can hear in Boyle like why I'm so proud of him. He gets it. Great guy, hardest working dude, talented as all get out, and had been grinding for a while to get that shot. And he just said yes to everything. What do you need me to do? Yep. And you work on my show, and it's like he was only working part-time when somebody was out. So if Mraz was out or Bellotti was out, or even when Bogusch was out, it's like, slide him in. Okay, we're going to run this play. Can you do it? Yep. Can you do this? Yeah. You want me to do this? Yeah. It's like whatever I needed him to do, he could do and do it in a really great way. He does play-by-play. He does talk. He does hosting. He does updates. He does it all. So it's really cool to see those types of guys rewarded. You guys get a charge out of that as well. So that was freaking awesome. Really, really, really freaking awesome. And Bob's Bar is going to be insane. It's going to be just so much fun to get all you guys together once again. Sunday, June 8th. It's coming up. Aiden, why don't we do a little Q&DA, shall we? Why don't we give away a T-shirt here, because we got the Last Dive Bar, and they are amazing people as well. It should be noted that I've been working hard this week with Last Dive Bar on the final designs for the T-shirts. We're going to have 4 different T-shirt designs upon our store launch. They're all now to Last Dive Bar, and they're ready to go. We're going to get this merch store up really, really soon. The designs are done. We just have to finalize drop shipping and all that type of stuff. But once that is done, it's going to be off and running. And I'm so excited to unveil the 4 designs, because each one of them, I think, is so uniquely DA show. It's so uniquely Watch D.A Live. It's so uniquely D-Alien. There's deep cuts in there, which is what I wanted the T-shirts to be. I didn't want them to be generic. I wanted them to be deep cuts. So we got really fun, cool jokes in there and references in there, and I think you guys will get a kick out of it. And I give you credit. You have not dug into our video and Photoshop and graphic archives to see. You have held back because you want the grand reveal, even though you have access to all the stuff that I've been working on.
I do, and I've kept it. Yeah, it's almost like being a kid on Christmas. I've tried to hold back as much as I can. I don't know why I didn't plan it that way, but when the first design link popped up and I was like, it's wait. I have an inkling. We've talked about some of the designs off air, but obviously now with them being confirmed, I haven't seen the formal fruit bear out yet.
What'd you think about Boyle's bacon?
It was amazing. It was an honor to be a part of that.
It was an honor
to the ones and twos
to hit the oinks.
Yes, to hit that fifth oink. I hit the mouse pad a little bit harder. And for the folks behind the scenes, Boyle sent the script about 2 minutes before he signed on. We were live on the air, and over the course of the last 48 hours or so, 36 hours, getting this all set up, Pat said, I'll have the script for you by 6:30-ish Eastern time. The show starts, we're on the air, I still have the script. And so I'm like, what's going on here? Is he trying to fool me? And he sends it about 2 minutes and then signs on right as you toss to him. So it's almost like the NFL draft where he's keeping his information so tight. He's not letting the script leak before we get on the air. At 7:28 p.m. Eastern time, he finally sends the script. I do a quick run through. It is a whopper. I think my favorite, and I'm glad you mentioned it, was the Jax Ulbrich drop because it's so timely.
Yeah.
That news just came out like freaking 2 hours ago, and he somehow has the ability to put in the script. It was amazing.
It's so great. Before we get to the Q&A, why don't we run Fitzmagic here? Because Aiden put together the best fits of the NFL draft. And I love this list that he put together. So I want to do this right here. During the football season, we always do the best dressed guys going into the stadium, okay? And so this week, we've done it as well for Fitzmagic and the NFL draft. So how about this? We're going to start here with Matthew Golden, the Green Bay Packers' new wide receiver. Check this out. This guy is dripping head to toe in gold, UT Longhorn, and he's got the golden jacket. Matthew Golden looking nice. He's got the shades, he's got the big chain, and he's got an absolutely scintillating bow tie and jacket. Next up, how about Ashton Genty? This is amazing. Now, Genty gets drafted by the Raiders. Those are Crocs. That's right. He wore Crocs at the draft, but how about this? They are Swarovski diamond studded Crocs. That's right. Those are diamond encrusted Crocs. So I think we can kill a guy on wearing Crocs at the draft unless they're actually studded with diamonds. Swarovski studded Crocs. That's pretty sick. Next up, you got you got the Patriots' first draft pick, Will Campbell, and he's wearing his first suit ever, Louis Vuitton suit. And Aiden's very proud that the Patriots took a big man like this to help protect Drake May, and very proud that his offensive lineman, first-round draft pick, has never worn a suit before. You can see right there, that looks like me in my 7th grade formal. We had a 7th grade dance. It's really like a 7th grade prom. Then there's an 8th grade prom. Then there was a 9th grade or a 10th grade Harvest Queen. Then there was real proms, junior and senior prom. But we had like fake practice proms, formals at the school in the cafeteria. That's what I looked like at 7th grade when I wore my first suit jacket.
I think my favorite part of this is watching the first round on Thursday night, and being a Patriots fan, seeing Will Campbell come across the stage with the Patriots hat on. He actually broke down in tears in his interview. He was very emotional. He said, I'm gonna fight and die for Drake May. I love this team. I love Mike Vrabel. And it's so staunch of a difference between the real personality of Will Campbell and the suit that he's wearing, the Louis Vuitton green. It looks like a receiver would wear that suit. But you got to stunt for the one night you get drafted, especially in the first round.
Good point. We got Tyler Booker, who is an offensive lineman at Alabama, drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. And Booker looks nice. That's a suede jacket, and that says T-Book. That's a big fat chain around his neck. He's got the lapel, TB, his initials, and then T-Book as his chain around his neck. I mean, that is an incredible look right there. Brown suede jacket and suit. Tyler Booker absolutely looking nice as well. And then finally, how about this look as we go to the videotape? Because this final one is a really good look. This is Kentucky cornerback Maxwell Hairston, drafted by the Bills. And look at this jacket. I mean, that is so nice as well. He's got the blue tie on, which is perfect for the Bills, but he's got that inlay on the jacket. He's got the colors going. He's got the pattern going, and he just looks so smooth in that. So Maxwell Hairston really bringing it correct as well. My mom said, I saw the draft, the NFL draft. They had the players' families. They were all dressed so nice. When did this start? And I was like, 30 years ago, Mom. I mean, it's not new that they're showing the players. Like we saw Brett Favre's parents and his family on draft night. But I will say, back then nobody was wearing like diamond encrusted jewelry and all this flashy stuff, and offensive linemen didn't have Louis Vuitton suits on. So that blew her hair back. She's like, wow, when did it become such a thing? I was like, well, it's always been kind of a thing, but you're right, Ma. It has gone to the next level. You're right about that. All right, before we get out of here, why don't we give away a T-shirt here from Last Dive Bar. As always, our friends at Last Dive Bar give you 15% off your order. Go to lastdivebar.com and use code MOTHERSHIP. They're going to be helping us out. They're going to be running the merch store. So for those of you wondering, all the quality T-shirts that you've ever gotten from us or bought from the Last Dive Bar gang, same quality shirt, same quality art, same quality everything. I think they do amazing stuff. I wear their stuff all the time. And so I said, we got to team up with you and get the same quality to our listeners. So anything you got in Last Dive Bar merch store, remember, use our code MOTHERSHIP to get 15% off your order. You look at the price and basically it's free shipping and no tax if you use our code. So you got to like that as well. And let's give out a T-shirt here. We can give away one T-shirt today and whatever other comments you want to race through here, Aiden.
Yeah, let's rip through some honorable mentions really quick. Rapid fire before we get to the winner. This came in right at the beginning of the show. Spencer on YouTube said, the GM for the Long Island Dragons was hoping that Shedeur would go undrafted. He put together a package which included a huge freeze 8-track titled Songbird of the Deaf Generation. That deserves 5 oinks in and of itself.
That's a fantastic tweet, a fantastic comment. At some point, we're going to have Schwartz on the show to talk about being the GM of an arena football team. There's 4 teams in this league. One is in Danbury, Connecticut. One, I think, is in Mass. One is
Fitchburg,
in Jersey.
Mass. That's right.
Fitchburg, Mass. Aiden, you're from Boston. Have you ever been to Fitchburg, Mass?
I have not.
How big is this? Is there 2 gas stations in Fitchburg, and now they have an arena football team?
One of the state university networks is there, Fitchburg State University. So that's a state school in the Mass network, but it's not a UMass. It's not a Boston College. My guess is it's probably 15,000 undergrads, something like that. It's in between Boston and Worcester, a little north in Worcester. So not much going on there.
When class is in session, that doubles the population of that city, and somehow they have an arena football team in this league. So, yeah, we got to get Pete on here to talk about this ridiculous situation because, he doesn't realize the joke of it. And
Spencer on YouTube actually asked if he's coming to Bob's Bar. So I'll put that in the comments here as well, but that's in the chat.
And it's in play. I have not extended the invitation, but I would imagine that if I reach out to Pete will be all in. So I will keep you guys abreast of the situation.
Love it. Let's rip through a couple more of these. Your comments about your hair, as you mentioned, are free flowing as the water is wet. What's the over under if DA gets a haircut before Bob's Bar? And also DA's hair makes me think that he's an extra on the next Scorsese movie. So those are your daily hair comments for the night.
Wednesday, I have a haircut set up. It's not going to cut it off. It's really just to shape it up. But I'm well aware that sometimes it gets a little unruly. Like I said, we're in the home stretch of growing it out and to where it needs to be. And then you just, keep it modeled. But there's going to be, you have to grow it out to a certain degree and then have it shaped. And you have to, kind of let it go long to get it to that point in time. It was way more awkward 2 months ago. We've got into a zone where it looks pretty good without too much trim, but I got to get it trimmed again on Wednesday. So When I see you, either you'll see some of the social media clips or a DA deep dive, a video here on the YouTube channel before next Sunday, or next Sunday, you should see a much cleaner haircut on yours truly, although we're still keeping the volume here.
Love it. All right, finally, some a username honorable mention goes to Taco Matt with 1 T. Thanks for checking in, Taco Matt, on YouTube. Cardinals got an A draft. Also, my favorite meme of the weekend was we have a new Pope with the graphic that says Cardinals pick is in. That may never happen, folks, for the rest of my lifetime, your kids' lifetime. Obviously, the papal conclave will be underway soon, and we got a Cardinals pick is in. I thought that was all time, my type of humor. And finally, Wallace, who's a regular here in these parts, but he's painting his bathroom ceiling tonight. Does it get any better than that?
That's special. That's really special. And hey, we're going to eventually get to the warm weather so that we will all have our exhale cocktails out, and you guys will be enjoying your summer evenings on Sundays and watching Watch D.A. live. In this case, you're painting your bathroom. That's kind of a step down from what we hope to be the summer is around here on Watch D.A. live.
You know what, though? That's the equivalent of lifting the weights in the offseason.
That's right.
Summer bod ready. You're getting ready to finally stunt with your XL cocktails in the summer, but when it's the winter, you gotta put your work in. So thank you, Wallace. Our winner of the Last Dive Bar newcomer, once again, I'd like to reward these. Doc O'Bell, watching on YouTube. He just let out a nice suey watching Pat Boyle deliver, or cook, I should say, cook the Canadian bacon. And he or she, Doc, has been on fire with the comments all night. So reach out to us, watchdalive@gmail.com, or slide into the DMs. Last Dive Bar coming your way.
I love it. Really great stuff. And we had so many good comments tonight. You know, everybody's been just really freaking on fire. I think when you bring in a Boyle for Canadian bacon, everybody just kind of like levels up the game. It gets the juices flowing and whatnot. So tonight was awesome on the comments, and thanks everybody for doing it. And, you know, it's Sunday nights are like family. I feel that way when we have somebody like Pat on, it feels that way. And to see all these familiar faces and names in the comment section and new people joining us, it feels so good. So tell your friends, join us Sunday nights. This is what we do. A lot of ridiculousness, a lot of fun, hopefully good sports talk as well, and a place to congregate. I cannot wait until Bob's Bar on June the 8th. Obviously, if you can't make it, understandable. We will have the show, Watch D.A. Live, broadcast there from the site on Sunday. So you'll be able to watch it. We won't do it at 7 o'clock Eastern time because who knows how ridiculous it'll all get, and who knows how many beers I will have and, you know, whatnot. So we'll do it earlier in the afternoon. So keep track of it just by following me on social media. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. That way you'll get notified when we go live, and you'll be able to live look into the absurdity known as Bob's Bar if you want to watch it on the live stream. Before we get out of here, we want to make sure that we honor our friend Little Mo, who is one of my heroes. Little Mo was a listener to the show for a number of years when I did overnights like Pat Boyle is doing now. And Little Mo was a young man without sight. He was ravaged by illness, unfortunately, always was in and out of the hospital at Johns Hopkins. He was in Baltimore. But he never let that knock him off of his joy. He just had joy every single day. And I try to carry that with me and carry that out to you guys on a day-by-day basis in the platforms that I have. I believe in it. I believe in joy. I believe in spirit. I believe in happiness. And I believe in trying to get everybody to touch that as well. And Little Mo did it better than anybody I've ever known. So at the end of every show, we try to honor him with a funny story and a Little Mo laugh of the day. And, you know, the Shedeur Sanders slide was no laughing matter, but there was an old tweet that was dug up that did become a laughing matter. Check this out. This was a Shedeur that actually was from a different part of the world. Now, Stephen A. Smith had tweeted, "This is a damn disgrace. How in the hell is Shedeur not off the board?" and not drafted yet. Y'all still think this doesn't have anything to do with teams hating on Dion. The kid's a first rounder. This is Kaepernick all over again. A damn disgrace. I don't care what anyone says. Okay, so that's kind of Stephen A's bulletin board craziness. Well, at Shedeur is not Shedeur Sanders. At Shedeur is somebody named Shedeur Smith out of Kellyville, Sydney. And I don't know, about 8 years ago, Shedeur Smith had one tweet, and he tweeted a picture of a sandwich. And he tweeted it at Gordon Ramsay. And it was a kangaroo meatball sub. And he wanted to know, hey, Gordon, can you please rate my sub? Warren Sharp, a football analyst, did a little digging and realized poor Shedeur from Australia joined Twitter in 2011, waited 6 years before asking Gordon Ramsay to rate this kangaroo meatball sub, never tweeted again, and then suddenly found himself embroiled in a massive international controversy over a college player sliding a few rounds in the draft. This poor Shedeur opens up a Twitter account, just wants a little feedback from Gordon Ramsay on a creative sub out of Australia, and suddenly his at mentions are just blown to holy hell because Stephen A. Smith used the wrong handle. So, just kind of perfect, right? Just kind of perfect. That's going to wrap it up for us this evening here on the show. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for the friendship, the companionship, and the loyalty to this project and all my other stuff that I do around here. Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82. I'll see you tomorrow morning starting at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. Catch me weekday mornings there. Subscribe to the channel, okay? Subscribe right here. Click on this button below me. That way you're notified when we do DA deep dives, watch other shows from the Watch D.A. live archives. Interviews are always up there. We will have the Boyle Canadian Bacon archived up there as well, so you guys will always be able to just watch that or pass that along to your friends that love the DA show and been missing Canadian Bacon for a while. You'll be able to share that as well and just enjoy it again because you always miss something when Boyle does it, so you got to go back and rewatch it as well. Thanks to Aiden Hattenauer, Marquette Marvel. Thanks to the D-Aliens for your continued loyalty and patronage. I appreciate you very much. Have a great rest of your Sunday night, everybody. I'm D.A. Be good to one another. The mothership disconnects.